Thank you so much for everybody to participating in this session. I'm really honored to see all of you, and of course, a little bit worried about how I will present my presentation. So, welcome everybody to Kyrgyzstan. The name of our country, it's Kyrgyzstan. It's a southern Kazakhstan. And I will show by map where it's located, and I hope after many people will know about my country. With Ellie, we met last year in Samarkand, and she was very, very kind with me to also make me join in this Friday for Birds. I tried to listen all other presentation from Africa, and it gives me a lot of inspiration also. And now time to talk about Kyrgyzstan and our society, how we work with birds here. So the name of our association, it's Ornithologia, and it's pronounced Ornithologia because on Kyrgyz language and also in Russian language, which is very developed here, we pronounce like this. And there is described in English Kyrgyz Association for Conservation of Biodiversity. We're trying to focus mostly on the birds, but also their habitats, to protect their habitats. And I'm presenting this association, and also I'm this year became chairperson. The members of our association, they were also very kind and really respect me a lot. They choose me as a chairperson. So we now go. If you see on the map, it's a map of Central Asia. I tried to find in the internet a good map that which can show about region. And of course, Kazakhstan, it's mostly well known because it's the biggest one in our region. So here it's a group of countries which was before part of Soviet Union. Our history is that we were, before Soviet Union, part of Russian Empire in the 19th century, and then 20th century it was Soviet Union. And in 1991, all these countries, which is colored, they took their independence. So Kyrgyzstan, it's southern Kazakhstan and western China. And I can say Kyrgyzstan, it's like in the center of Central Asia. So this is more like precise map of Kyrgyz Republic. The name can be Kyrgyzstan and Kyrgyz Republic. So it's 199 square meter approximately. And as you see in the map, it's very mountainous. This country, it's very mountainous. 85% of the territory covered by the mountains, and there are some territories, lands, which covered by flatlands, but we don't have them a lot, so it's mostly very mountainous country. And we also do a lot of jokes that it's by nature, it's similar to Switzerland, Swiss. Which is by economy, not of course. Yeah. And also, I also didn't describe about our logotype. As you see in this logo, it's inspired by bird, and I will show this bird, this one. It's a Himalayan and snowcock. I'm quite difficult for me to pronounce this Latin name. It lives, the habitat of this bird lives in a high area. So you have to climb a lot to see this bird, 3,000 meters of altitude, and you will see this bird. It's in center, it's almost in all Central Asian countries, mostly in the high area places. And why we choose this as a logotype, I think it's important. We tried to choose the bird which is not predator, because we have a lot of predator birds, which Kyrgyz, we like them a lot, but also we tried also to focus on these birds. And why this bird is important for our ecosystem. the other predators, they feed by this bird. So snow leopard, which also lives in the high areas, also feeding by this Himalayan and snowcock, and also other big birds, as the eagle, also they hunt for this bird. I mean, in the ecosystem, it's very important, this bird. And also for our people, for our Kyrgyz people, this bird, it has some, like in the legends, they call it paradise bird, that you cannot hunt. So I can say it's quite protected, but also I can say that also some people who hunt for this. So we also should to conserve this a lot. Even if it lives in very high area, which is, we can think it's protected, but of course there are people who also hunt. So, and history of our bird community. If I tell about Kyrgyzstan and science, the role of the science here, in 20th century, when it became part of Soviet Union, there are so many Soviet scientists who came to Kyrgyzstan. Actually, they all came to Central Asia to describe this territory. So many biologists, geographists, geologists also. And they did a lot of group mapping about our country and collected a lot of data actually. And in 1950s, our Academy of Science was created. But after when this big country collapsed, of course, everything went down, especially in developing science. But even it was many things went down. Anyway, there was some data which you can go look and find the information. And of course, we had an ornithologist who was still working in the beginning of independence. Was very, very difficult, but there were some who always worked on the science, especially on the ornithology, collecting data. And they, of course, do their counting birds, monitoring birds in the big, important areas. And story of our community, it's actually a group of amateur people, and I just in this photo show some of them, not all of them are here in that photo. And these amateur people who at the beginning just like to take a photo of the birds. And there are a group of local people also, and group of foreigners who are in Kyrgyzstan and just like this bird watching hobby. And there is a site, Birds Kyrgyz, but I think in this I cannot share the link. But it may be in chat, I can share the link. So in this site, the people, it was site which was inspired by Kazakhstan bird community. They have a bird KZ, and we also took as an example birds Kyrgyz, and they're also birds of Russia. So people in all these countries, these bird photographers, they know each other, and they started to take a photo of the birds. But taking photo, it's only like bird photographing, but also there were people who like to collect data, who like to know not only about taking beautiful photo, but also to know about their habitats, to know how many of birds they can see in some part of areas. So, and by this people, this site started to develop, and still we also, it's also important to our countries because it's on the language that we understand, Russian language. And there are also the name of the birds, which is in Kyrgyz and also Kazakh language. I mean, for our countries, this site, it's important. Because it gives a lot of information. It's like encyclopedia of the Central Asian birds. And it's also like first official meeting of our society. It was in 2020, just I think right after COVID. And these people, they all, in the beginning, they were in this society. I just came in 2023, and thanks to these members, they developed quite good activities. in birdwatching and collecting data. So it's like, so even before how it was we taught in Soviet Union, so everything was in the power, so vertical, so you have to go order from high position to under to collect data. But now we are also trying to show that also citizens, they can collect data. It's also good that citizens involved in it. It shows also this horizontal role, I think, in the science that also people can collect. And also in this group of people, there are professional ornithologists also. And I wanna, by this map, show about important bird areas. Thanks to BirdLife, they supported our ornithologist, Sergei Kulagin, who did research about finding this. I mean, they already know where this bird area is, but it was important to put in this map. And you can find it in this BirdLife site, these maps, these important bird areas. So I live in Bishkek, and Bishkek is our capital. It's very north of the country. So near Bishkek, there is IBA. The name of the IBA, Ozernaya. From Russian language, it translated lakely place, because there are so many fish ponds. And these fish ponds always attract birds, a big quantity of birds. And also, if you go a little bit close to the Kazakh border, there is a bird, also IBA, the name Tolok, which is also very important. I mean, it's even more rich than the Ozerne. And we have Isykyl Lake, and on the west coast and east coast, there are two big IBAs. And for me, I think this east coast, it's bigger and it's really more. You can see demoiselle crane, who always in the migration there, spring and also September when they come back to south. Why this bird, like this territory is important? Because it's not always there birds who are nesting there, but there are also birds who are migrating there. And the quantity can be really a lot, like in one bird count, you can see like 100 species of birds, especially in the migration time. But I can say, I think we need to continue developing this map, because I can say that we can also describe more IBAs in this map. I mean, I'm sure that not all of them are shown here. Also very interesting, it's the south of Kyrgyzstan, which we not so much know about it. And also in this slide, I tried to name these IBAs. I think it's also to show. So it's Bishkek, it's capital, and we are happy that just 30 minutes by car, we can go to Ozernaya IBA, and then like 1 hour and a half by car to Tolok IBA, and to Isykyl it takes 3 hours to go to west coast, and east coast it takes me like 6 hours. But South Kyrgyzstan, it's difficult because to go to this main city Osh, it's a second main city in Kyrgyzstan. It's a far, and also you have to reach very high mountains, which is in the winter. It's quite dangerous. But also we are working on it to go there and to do this bird counts also there. And I can just highlight these IBAs, which is for me interesting. And I visited on the north is 4 of them, and south for me it's still question. But this year I will work on it. And activities of our society. Main task, it's learning about birds. So I can say we have also professional ornithologists, but we also have just amateurs. Me, by myself, I'm still amateur, I think. And have to learn about birds, but it's also working on conservation, how we learn about birds and monitoring them. I underline this conservation here. Conservation, it's important because we have to work with local communities, and it's, I think this conservation work, it's not only work with science collecting data, but it's also a lot of work with local communities. It's social part of it, when you have to work with people, especially in the village. I can say in these IBAs, there are so many villages around these IBAs. Even if there is no village, there are always one or two farmers who have their cattle there, and their cattle always go to these habitats, and it can be, of course, always conflict with human influence, and also these nature parts. And second task, it's research. So we, because it's so many things we don't know, but also we are not so, for the moment, not so powerful to choose every species of the bird to learn about it. So we think maybe we focus on some species and learn about them. Third one, it's a bird watching. So in our society, we have members who are very professional ornithologists and bird watchers. They're doing this bird watching tour in Kyrgyzstan. And by visiting these IBAs, we hope that we can also show to local people that they can work in nature-based tourism. Let's say nature-based tourism. They can invite guests that people can go and also watch birds. And four, of course, it's very important. It's part on the research, it's education and citizen science. Education, so our work on education, it was working with Bird Club. So in 2024, with help of funding from OSMI, Ornithological Society, Middle East and Caucasus and Central Asia, we won the grant, and with this money, we tried to find, we had already some students, but also we tried to more often visit IBAs, teach them how to count the birds and also identify different species of the birds. And also during this 2024, I worked a lot with citizen science in Bishkek, where we did bird counts in the park of our city. And also I also put this bird as an example that our bird photographers, sometimes they also took photos of the interesting birds. And I actually don't know the name of the bird in English, and I found it in Latin name. In Russian language, we call it Египетская цапля, which was very interesting. With our one bird watcher, bird photographer, she found it in near Isikul Lake on the coast, on the west coast. And so, I mean, it's also can show good example. So, and if I describe more about research, so we did research about little bastard, and it's done this research. And this little bastard research we did mostly in Tölök IBA, which is northwest part, northwest from Bishkek, near Kazakhstan border. On Russian language, we call it strepet. And I can say the result shows that when it was a period of Soviet Union, they collapsed a lot. But in the independence time, they started to come to this territory because it was more safe for them, because people start to use less pesticides. So we can see by this research, there is linked between how people do their agriculture using pesticides, yeah, and also how it react, yeah, how to influence to the birds. And if less pesticides, which will show that it's growing. But of course, there is always a risk for them because some farmers can still use these pesticides. This research about litter bastard, it's done, but it will soon published in OSMI Sangrus journal. When it will be ready, we will share. And then second, it's a city bird counts. City bird counts, me was managing it, and with other ornithologists, we invite just citizens of our city, Bishkek, to participate in bird counts. So we tried to look or find what was we think important areas inside the city. So it mostly boulevards where a lot of trees, parks. The Bishkek, it's actually, it used to be very green city before, and now we have a problem with a lot of construction. So we want to show also to the people, to city department, that it's important to protect these trees inside city, because it's important for the bird. It's like natural area, that city also part of the natural nature area. And also third one, which we also trying to work a lot, it's data collecting using eBird and making their checklist. I think by myself, I found it's very adventurous using eBird. It's easy, everyone can use it, and it's easy to learn. So, and we also wanna develop eBird not only to use for our members, but also to show it to the rangers who work in natural parks, who work in protected areas, because they also do their bird counts, but they do it in very like old-fashioned manner, which is all this database in the paper, and they go to Academy of Science, and which is not so effective, I think. While using eBird, it's more digitalized, and it's really more effective, and it's easy also to learn, I think. And we were also working on translating it to our languages, which is also very important. And fourth one was a bird club project. So in this photo, I want to show that by elder members of our society, not but just by age, but their experience. We also try to work with universities in how it works. I go just to university, which I know, and talk with professors and ask from them, can you give me some students which are motivated? So I found some motivated students, and they come, and some of them really like these activities. And I can say, so we have several students who are active in using eBird, and one of them very good in bird identification. He learning really very fast. One of them is very, very effective. It's also very good. Why this is important? It shows that it's interesting for young generation. They're just only from 18 to 20 years old. Because when since Soviet Union collapsed in the years of independence, we had a like huge gap of that we don't have our own ornithologists or researchers. So even if we have the problem is their age, but during like this period of 30 years, there is no like change by generation. I mean, to this for that scientist. So to work on it, we need to find new generation, like young students who will also like to do this, that we can maybe, I mean, I still hope that they will become good biologist, ornithologist, conservationist. Yes, and it's about a photo of this bird, which we were working. It's a little bastard, tetrax. So the problem, as I said before, it's They were losing habitat in Soviet Union, but in the independence they actually grows. But now we don't know because economical situation grows in Kyrgyzstan. I think it's everywhere, and some farmers can start to use pesticides. Um, and there is another good result, I think, of our member. One of our member, he was participating in the writing the article, which is inside this book, Golden Eagle Around the World. But I cannot share the article because it's in the book and people need to buy this book. But I tried to share the name of the book, and I can read some about golden eagle. What's about this amazing bird in Kyrgyzstan? So golden eagle for us, it's very important. It has really very important, huge role because it's a bird that in history of Kyrgyz people we use this bird as a helping to hunt. So. Kyrgyz, they find small bird of golden eagle, took it from the nest and teach this, and it's using for the hunting. And they were research in some areas of Kyrgyzstan. Golden eagles can nest everywhere in Kyrgyzstan because it's full of the mountains, and it feeds themselves by marmots. In marmots, we have marmots. It's also this in the ecosystem. It's a food for every predator here in Kyrgyzstan and for the golden eagle. And the result many times by monitoring them, it shows that in Kyrgyzstan, mostly 2 chicks of the golden eagles can survive in the nest. So it means Kyrgyzstan can show the good quantity, I think, of the marmots that parents can catch and feed it for their chicks. And and also and sometimes, for example, there is the result how the distance between 2 nests of the golden eagles in one area, and it can be even 2 kilometers. So I think it's also will be interesting for you if you can read about golden eagle in Kyrgyzstan in this book. I cannot say a lot about it, but I think I just could say the main about this bird. And by myself, I can say that almost in every when I go to the mountains, I see them a lot, like 1 or 2 couple, or sometimes also with their chicks. But it's in the red list. It's in the red list in Kyrgyzstan also. And of course, it's also important to work with other governmental structures and communities. So we have agreement with Department of Biodiversity. It's under Ministry of Ecology and Protection. And also, it's good also to have agreements with reserves, which we work, biosphere zones, and botanical garden in Bishkek. And also good to have agreements with local communities. Very often in Kyrgyzstan, now it's very popular when in the village group of people, they open local village community which works on conservation in their area. And also it's very difficult to work with all village, but you can work with these people. They are always in the village, some of people who understand that it's important to protect areas, and it's better directly work with them. And I can say last, our goals is to make our community more bigger and to also make our members more active, and also to work on with teaching local researchers, young generation, and continuing this protect natural areas of the bird habitats. I can say now I'm ready for the questions.
Thank you very much. That was really awesome. That was a very nice presentation. Well, now is the time actually before the question and answer session. We are going to have a very courteous miniaturized summary by Olivier. If Olivier, if you are online, please give us a very brief summary for our French speakers, and then we directly dive into question and answer sessions and get ready for your question, answers, and comments to pass on for today's presentation.
Merci
Olivier.
bien. J'essaye donc de faire un rapide résumé de ce que vient de nous présenter Adinai Akhmatova. Elle est la présidente d'une association pour la diversité avienne qui a été créée il n'y a pas si longtemps. On va faire un petit tour d'histoire. D'abord, cette association s'appelle Ornithologia, donc est vouée aux oiseaux en particulier, à la diversité avienne. Petite histoire aussi concernant le pays. Le Kyrgyzstan faisait partie de l'Empire russe, puis de l'Union soviétique, et a gagné son indépendance, je crois, en 1991-91. Et ce petit pays montagneux est situé au centre de l'Asie centrale. Alors, Adinai nous a présenté quelques cas particuliers dont l'association s'occupe. Elle nous a montré en particulier le lagopède de l'Himalaya qui est le logo de l'association. C'est une espèce protégée des montagnes, presque une espèce sainte. Donc, en 1950, l'Académie des sciences a été créée au Kyrgyzstan, puis à partir de ça, un groupe de photographes s'est formé qui s'est concentré sur la photographie des oiseaux, et en 2020, l'association a été créée. Et les buts de cette association sont d'une part la promotion de l'ornithologie, l'étude des oiseaux, mais aussi la recherche et le suivi des oiseaux, et en particulier dans les sites qui s'appellent des IBA, donc Important Bird Areas, aires importantes pour les oiseaux qui ont été définies dans le pays. Alors, par exemple, au nord du pays, on a la capitale Bichkek, qui est entourée aussi de zones humides. Et c'est là aussi que se développent des aires importantes pour les oiseaux et que l'association peut aussi être active. Il est plus difficile d'aller dans le sud. La deuxième ville du pays s'appelle Osh, elle est dans le sud, mais pays montagneux, donc difficile d'accès. Alors, les activités de la société sont l'étude des oiseaux et leur protection, la recherche scientifique, l'observation, mais aussi l'éducation et citizen science. Et l'association bénéficie très heureusement de l'aide de OSME, qui est la société ornithologique de l'Asie, et OSME favorise aussi donc la publication de certains travaux effectués par l'association. Alors, les points forts sont la recherche, par exemple, sur la petite outarde. Et une étude a été déjà accomplie et elle sera précisément publiée dans Sandgrouse, la revue ornithologique de OSME, de la société OSME. Un autre point fort, c'est le comptage des oiseaux en ville de Bichkek, là où il est possible de mobiliser pas mal de gens pour participer à ces comptages. Il y a aussi la récolte de données avec eBirds. C'est une méthode qui est un peu forcée, puisque dans le temps, ornithologues avaient l'habitude de résumer leurs observations sur papier et on les anime à utiliser eBird. Un autre projet est celui de créer des bird clubs et pour ça, de nouveau, on recherche la collaboration, par exemple, des universités. Alors, un point fort aussi de l'association, c'est l'étude de l'aigle royal. L'aigle royal est bien répandu dans le pays. Une particularité, il a été beaucoup utilisé pour la fauconnerie. Donc, l'aigle royal était utilisé pour la chasse aux oiseaux et aux mammifères aussi. Et donc, la population d'aigle royal se porte très bien au Kyrgyzstan, notamment en raison d'une abondance très importante de marmottes dans les montagnes. Et ça fait que les couples d'aigles royaux peuvent facilement élever 2 jeunes par nid. L'association travaille aussi volontiers avec le gouvernement, par exemple, département de la biodiversité, mais aussi à des accords concernant les réserves du pays et travaille avec les communes. Et les buts maintenant fixés pour le proche avenir, c'est développer l'association, développer le nombre des membres, développer la recherche aussi et développer les activités de protection des oiseaux. Voilà un bref résumé et merci beaucoup à cette présentation et je souhaite un bon succès à cette jeune association qui visiblement a déjà obtenu pas mal de choses au Kyrgyzstan.